In September of 2020, Cloud9 publicly announced how much its CSGO team was being paid. These 3-year contracts ranged between $426,000 and $1,650,000 in value. I'm sure you find it just as interesting as I do to see how much these players are getting paid to play Counter-Strike at a high level. This is information that we don't normally get to see. All this was made public soon after HenryG joined the Cloud9 organisation. I reached out to him to discuss the public announcement of the salaries, but he was happy to talk to me about a lot of related things, which this video will share with you as I believe it will help you to understand what it's like to be a general manager for a CSGO team. HenryG used to be a pro player himself, part of the 4 Kings back in Counter-Strike Source, then later spending 5 years being a commentator for CSGO, and now here he is as Cloud9's general manager. This role means that he assembles the team, gets it ready for matches, makes the tough decisions, posts on social media, and deals with the fallout from match results. He's had immense success in his previous roles and intends to be just as great with his new team. He's riding the highs and lows with them, and this week has been difficult. A low for his 15-year-long Counter-Strike career. Cloud9 lost several games, dropping them out of the DreamHack Masters qualifier. And to make matters worse, a lot of people have taken to social media to express their delight in Cloud9's failure. For him, the match losses are the hard part. Individuals on social media just irritate him for being uninformed. He gets frustrated by their lack of understanding and how they're using the public salaries and contracts as ammunition to use against the team. Because he released these details because he didn't like the secretive way that most CSGO teams were run. It's the Wild West right now, and some people are getting messed around. Most organisations don't reveal what they pay players, and he believes, in order for the esport to progress, that kind of secrecy needs to go away. A player's skill should be something to be celebrated, and he feels like some of them are being shortchanged or exploited simply because they don't know their own worth. That's why he chose to make the figures public. And not just the amounts, but the lengths of the contract as well, to show that he's investing in his players, that he believes in them, and is in this for the long term. When he took charge of the team, he also wanted to change how the social media was run. Having been a commentator, he knows the importance of not just being informative, but also being entertaining. Kind of like WWE, and he's trying to apply this style to Twitter to make his team's story more exciting to follow. He has gone about this by trickling information about the roster, by posting hype videos, and by making it more clickbaity and fun than the more professional teams were being in this regard. He believes he's achieved this, saying that interest in the team has, in his own words, been popping off on Reddit and Twitter. But it's perhaps this style of social media, in conjunction with the public information on the salaries, that has made the team such an easy target whenever they lose a game. Because to uninformed viewers, the amounts involved seem unbelievably large, especially if the team has just lost their latest game, because clearly if you're earning that much then you're expected to win every game. Of course, these same people don't care when the team comes in the top 8 in several events, or when it beats some well-respected teams. That doesn't make the news, but the moment the team loses, suddenly the salaries aren't justified and the social media turns savage, with the players' salaries often brought up as ammunition. He's disappointed they're using this information because it was posted solely to help the scene. It's showing that Cloud9 is investing in Counter-Strike. It doesn't make sense for fans to be attacking this sort of behaviour. This is something that should be commended, especially with the difficulties that the scene has faced this last year, which I'll be talking more about later on. But first of all, let's get you up to speed. The figures involved here aren't unreasonable, nor are the players being overpaid for what they're doing. If the whole scene was as transparent as Cloud9 is, then people would be able to see that. There will be other players in other teams who are being paid similarly. But from the hatred he's received, he says it's as though some of the disgruntled viewers behave as though it's their own money that's being spent on these teams. Which it's not. The team is paying for it. While uninformed individuals have used this information against the team, those in the know have appreciated it, and Henry says that he has had many players coming forward wanting to be a part of the team, knowing that they'll be well paid and well treated, and it's because of this that he will continue being transparent about this sort of stuff, and believes it's a trailblazing move that other teams will eventually copy. But the critical comments have been about more than just the salaries, and some of this criticism he's received, he says, has been warranted. He did hype the team up. He has tried to build a following on social media because that's his job, and he has made mistakes. But revealing salary information publicly was not one of them. But he is happy for fair criticism to be directed at himself. That's what he's there for. He's been in the scene for over a decade, he can take it. Despite his experience, he told me that he still takes losses badly. It comes with being passionate about something. But he understands that he is now in a position of responsibility, and that he's got to rise above all that, because now others are also relying on him. Behind the scenes, he has had to make some difficult decisions. Decisions that, in the name of professionalism, he will never reveal the reasons for publicly. It's because they don't see the full picture that the public may see these decisions as being wrong, which regrettably he's unable to do anything about. But while he'll never share the reasons for these decisions publicly, he assures me that he always has the team's best interests in mind when making them, and doesn't make these decisions without the backing of the others. He told me a lot of interesting information about what is required to manage a team. You don't just splash out huge sums of money on the greatest players. He has instead tried to be smart about it, choosing players who he deems are a great fit for the team, and who he believes will prove their worth in a LAN environment, which is something they've yet to have a chance to show the world. One of his mistakes from last year was to assume that Flashpoint would be a LAN comprising of smaller teams. It's because of these things that he was confident in his team's success, only for the event to then be moved online last minute, and then for other large teams to sign up to it, which all resulted in Cloud9 not performing as he had hoped they would. The pandemic is to blame for this last year of events all being hosted online. He says these sort of events are very different to performing at a LAN. When you're online, you're in a comfortable environment, on a setup you're used to, without the pressure of being seen by a crowd. You don't have to worry so much about time zones and when you'll be playing, and he says that the results from teams this year hasn't matched up with how they've performed at LANs in the past. So far, the members of Cloud9 have been unable to meet up with each other, which has made it difficult for the team to practice as they would have liked to. It isn't a fair playing field right now, as there are some teams who have been able to practice in a more competitive LAN environment. Online might be all they have right now, but LANs are what HenryG cares about. He knows it's the arena events that people remember, and which define the esport. It was clear from listening to him that Henry is passionate about his team and strongly believes that they'll be able to achieve great things, with time. He acknowledges that it is taking longer than he expected, but once they've ironed out the final creases in their strategies, he is hoping to show the world that his team can be a force to be reckoned with, especially at LAN events, thanks to the team comprising of players who have proven to be able to handle that sort of pressure. When listening to Henry talk about this, I heard firsthand the passion that he's been channeling into his social media posts. And it's worked. It's made me more excited for their upcoming matches, regardless of the result. But he did also talk about his concerns with Counter-Strike. He sees the game as being in a vulnerable state right now. Valorant is putting pressure on the game by avoiding making the same mistakes that CSGO has done, and by actively engaging with the community. He hopes that Valve will eventually learn from this and will begin taking a more active role with Counter-Strike. It's not their fault that coronavirus cancelled the Rio Major, but the importance of the upcoming Stockholm one cannot be overstated. A lot is riding on the game returning to LANs, as he's not sure how long the hype for the game will last if tournaments remain online only. Cloud9's losses this week have been incredibly hard for him. This team is his everything right now. Their stories infect everything he does, spilling out from their social media and into his own personal accounts. It's always sad for him when people experience schadenfreude at his team's expense, but he knew what he had signed up for and looks to the future. He believes that anybody can see from the games that they've had so far that they're on an upwards trajectory with their roster of new and young players. He acknowledges that greatness will take time, but thinks they're only going to get better and have a deep playbook at their disposal. They've experienced losses, but he believes that they can bounce back from this, hoping to rewrite the narrative later this month in the Pro League when they face off against Na'Vi. Even if you want Cloud9 to lose, if HenryG's words have made you more excited for the match, then he's done his job well. Thanks to HenryG for taking the time to talk to me about this. I don't spend much time on the esports side of things, and I found what he had to say fascinating. And I wish him and his team all the best for the future.
With the amount we practice and what I've seen this team's capable of, we will bounce back and we will rewrite the narrative at ESL Pro League, which is on March 19th. We will be turning this ship around, and I will pin my reputation on the line again and say this team will be successful. And I hope people will be a little bit more patient, and hopefully we can start doing some damage. Hopefully, it's still I like the fire inside me. It's what keeps me going. So it's all good.